Hi everyone and welcome to Loopy Mabel's Closet. I'm Jane. Today's vlog is all about this little blouse that I'm wearing, my first self-drafted blouse pattern. So excited, I'm absolutely thrilled to bits with it. So if you want to see how I came to make it, all the shenanigans, I would love it if you stay tuned. Hi and welcome back. Thanks so much for joining me today. Can you see the grin on my face? Oh my God, I am so happy with this blouse. I know it's not everybody's taste, but it's my taste and I absolutely love it, and I love it even more because it's drafted from start to finish, all by me. Made, everything. It's me, it's come from me, and I am totally addicted to pattern drafting now. It's just like opened up a whole new different side of dressmaking for me. It's opened up my creative side. I mean, I've got lots of sewing patterns and I'll continue to make all those gorgeous patterns because I love to make what other people create. I love other styles that pattern companies develop, so I'll always probably make all those. But this side of it, the self-drafting side of it, is now helping me bring out the style that I like. So this style is probably going to evolve now, as it has done since I come back into dressmaking. Probably 2 years now. It's evolving all the time. Things I did 2 years ago that I really loved, maybe not so much now. Also with my weight loss, my silhouette of clothing that I like to wear, that's changed too. I always used to tend to wear the looser fitting tops, smock type of tops, longer length blouses, absolutely fine. I'll still continue to wear them, but I also now like the fitted look or the semi-fitted look, and I now want to develop styles with that type of look too. So it's continuously changing for me. So I'm just absolutely cock-a-hoop, I really am. It was a labour of love and I have learned so much doing this. Obviously I made my little button-down placket pinafore. That was my first sticking my toe in the water, shall we say, and I found that really exciting and very rewarding. And I've worn both of those pinafores since I've made them. Absolutely love them, so thrilled to bits. And that has just given me the confidence, a bit more boost to try something else. And I've been mentioning about all my dressmaking books in previous vlogs, and I've had some of these dressmaking books for years and years, and got them, and you know, I was like really liking the dressmaking side, but I didn't have the time because I worked full time and had quite a busy, stressful job. I never really had the time to actually go down the line of making my own clothes, but I always loved that dream that was always there, and thought I'd get my books out again. So I have literally the last 4 to 6 weeks, I have literally read these books from start to finish and back again, over and over and over, until eventually it started to sink in. Because to start with, it was just like, what? And didn't understand. But if you're anything like me, if I'm going to learn something, I want to know why I'm learning it, why I'm doing that process, or why you have to do that way. It's no good for me to somebody say, do it that way. I need to know why am I doing it that way so I can like understand it more. So by reading these books, literally over and over, the same paragraph sometimes, over and over until I got it in my head, now it's all starting to click into place. So if you're like thinking about having a go at making your own patterns and you're not sure where to start or how to begin, I'd highly recommend you just have a go. Start off with something really simple. You need your bodice blocks, and once you've got your sizing, from your sizing you create your own bodice blocks, and those blocks then become the building blocks for all the things you want to make. There's loads of tutorials on YouTube, and I wouldn't even dream of doing a tutorial on anything like that because I am not an expert. But if you just go onto YouTube and put in a bodice block, create a bodice block, and there's absolutely loads of tutorials on YouTube, but you do need to have your blocks. So I've got my sleeve block, I've got my fitted bodice block, I've got my dartless bodice block, and I've also got my knit block. I would like to, and a shirt block. So I would also like to do a few more blocks, which really are like the basis from the bodice block. But once you've got those blocks made, you don't have to keep going back to your bodice block, if you know what I mean. So I'd still like to make the dress block and another one which I can't remember. I think it's the dolman, the kimono block. So there's 2 more blocks I'd like to make. All it is a few little bit of alterations from your bodice block. So I'd like to do that and get them done. And then I've got a bit of an array of blocks to play with, shall we say. So obviously I made the pinafore and I thought, right, let's get some sleeves going on here. Let's do something a little bit more technical, add my sleeves in. Now my sleeves should fit because my sleeves are all from the measurements from my bodice block. So my sleeve is based on those measurements, so it should fit. I thought, I can't put it off. Let's just see if it does fit. So I did my toile and I had a little bit of too much ease going on in the sleeve, and I took a tiny fraction off the ease of the sleeve head, the height of the sleeve head, tiny couple of millimetres, and straighten these sleeves. So how, you were all asking, Jane, did you come to designing this? I can hear you all. Right, so all I did was, and I'm not an artist, I can't draw to save my life, but I had a picture in my head of what I wanted to make. So there's a little bit of my sketches and little notes of what I wanted to create. I knew I wanted something that wasn't too loose because I was hoping to make a blouse that I could wear on its own, like today, or underneath pinafore. So I didn't want anything with too much volume in the body part of the blouse. So I thought, well, if I stick with the fitted bodice block, then it's got a couple of darts in. So I kept the bust darts in. I wanted the bust darts in just to give it a little bit of shaping, but I didn't use the bottom darts. I just ignored the darts, so that gave me that little bit of extra width. And I just straightened off my bodice block, straightened the sides down to give me a little bit extra more. So there's enough movement in the blouse, but not too much if I wanted to layer it under a pinafore. So that was my idea. I knew I wanted short sleeves and I knew I wanted a Peter Pan collar. Then I had to figure out how I was going to get into the blouse. Was I going to have a front opening? Was I going to have a back opening? And I decided again go for a back opening. And I was originally just going to go for like a bound opening at the back. But then I don't know why I didn't go for that. I can't remember my reasoning for that. And then I just thought, let's just add another placket like I did for my pinafore. And then I wanted to do like a half placket, and I couldn't figure out how to do the half placket, and I knew how to do a full placket. So I thought, well, just, small steps. So I went for the full on placket that goes all the way down the back, and I've got 6 buttons on the back. I'll show you that in a second. And then obviously I had to cut my Peter Pan collar out. So because I've got the back open, obviously the Peter Pan collar is in 2 parts. If I did one with a front opening, then the Peter Pan collar would just be one piece all the way around. But obviously because I need a back opening, I had to do it in 2 parts. And then after reading my books, I'll show you my books as well. There's all sorts of things going on with collars that depending on the curvature of the actual collar pattern, don't want to bore you too much, can affect the roll of the collar, how it stands. So the straighter the collar, the less roll, I think. Don't quote me on this, I'm still learning. So for example, if you do like the band collar or mandarin collar, it's much straighter pattern, and obviously there's less roll. I'm not sure. But I did learn that if you do your top collar a few millimetres bigger than the under collar, it will help it to lie lovely and flat. So I did that, so I was really pleased. So I did the top collar part 3 millimetres bigger than the under collar part. So that's what I went off. So from my little scratchy drawings and scribbles, I'm now sat in something. It's like coming to reality. I can't explain. Right? I just can't explain. It's just amazing. And if you've done pattern drafting, you'll know where I'm coming from. And if you're sitting there thinking, "No, I'd love to have a go. I'd love to have a go," please have a go, because I'm telling you, you won't look back. It's a little bit like when you make your own knickers. I put the card for making when I made my own knickers, and oh yeah, I've got my knicker block. Forgot about that. It's a little bit like that when I said to you, you won't go back. And now I make my own knickers. I would never think now of going buying a pack of knickers. I know that you can probably buy a pack of 6, pack of 5 from Tesco or Primark for a few pounds. That's not what it's all about for me. The fact that I'm making something, I'm wearing something, that it's mine, I've made it, it's literally me. I can't explain, I can't get the words out, but I'm sure you know where I'm coming from. So once you started the pinafore, once I started doing the pinafore, I just thought, this is open up a whole new world for me. And also I have learned so much little things. It's just like, yes, that's why you do that, obviously. And the placket, the button placket, I could not get my head around. I knew how to do the button placket. I just couldn't get my head around, when you do the button placket, you have to, obviously, just say for example, mine's on the back. Obviously, you've got your centre back, so your button placket has got to line up. So at the centre back, if it was cut on the fold, it would line up. So when I was first doing the button placket, I did that placket, and I did that placket, and then I folded them over. That was on my green pinafore, my very first one. I'll pop a picture of that one. Which it's okay because it fits fine, because it's a looser fitting bodice, so that's fine. But if I was doing something that was more fitted like this, I would struggle because I just overlapped both plackets. Well, you don't just overlap both plackets, because me by overlapping both plackets, I've took some of the width out of the back part. What you do is you work out where your centre back is, and you put your notch, and then you work out where your centre back would be on the other side, and you match up the notches, so you're not folding it in half. You might be matching up like so, if you know what I mean. It's hard to, so I could not get my head around that. Flipping heck, hours of it. In the end, I had to draw it on bits of paper. I had to keep drawing it in my other book. I had to write myself little notes, but now I've cracked it. It's all about putting the notches and keeping the notch at the centre back line, and then you match up both notches so they match up, so that actually, if you were stitching it together, it would be stitched as it was before you cut it. So I've learned all that, and I've fathomed out how to do the half placket. So I've got my notes for that. So that would be something else I do. So I'll show you the books. These are the books I've had for quite some time, and they've just collected dust on the shelf. I flicked through them when I first got them, and that's where they stayed really. So I thought, right, get these books out. Now they're called The Dress Pattern Designing and then More Dress Pattern Designing, and they're both by Natalie Bray. I'll pop the links for them in the box below. I got mine off Amazon, and I'll pop the links for them, and you can maybe have a browse yourself on Amazon if there's something you fancy you might be interested in. But my goodness, they are brilliant. Now I'm reading them again this time around, as opposed to a few years ago, and it was just straight over my head. Now I'm understanding. There's still loads of stuff I'm learning, but it's slowly going in. Really good. And I at the side of the bed every night, and I read something on something every night. Just read it, soak it in. And now most of it's getting soaked in. Some of it is still what, I'm not quite sure, so I'll just keep on reading it, and I will crack it. So I just thought, right, let's just go for it. So I got my fabric out. I dilly-dallied with the fabric for absolutely ages, because it was this gorgeous Stitzy fabric that I got from Felicity Fabrics, and I didn't want to spoil it. And I was like, oh, what if it doesn't work? But I knew it would work because my toile fitted perfectly. And I was thinking, well, just cut the flipping fabric out. Just do it. Otherwise, I'm never going to do it. And I was thinking, oh, you know, should I make like another toile out of some fabric that I've got? And I thought, well, none of the fabrics I've got is like rubbish that I don't mind cutting into if it all goes pear-shaped. All my fabrics are gorgeous fabrics. All my fabrics are the ones I love and I want to make things with. So I didn't really want to cut into something else just in case that didn't work. And I just thought, just go for it. So I set it all out, and I just cut it out, and it's worked perfectly. And because there was no instructions to follow, no head scratching, because it's all coming out of my head, I found it really easy to do, because it was me telling me how to do it rather than me reading somebody else's instructions on how to do something. Sometimes I'm like, what? Whereas I was doing it. I didn't have any of that at all, which is really bizarre. And I'll show you again my drafted patterns. I just use brown wrapping paper. I've got a massive roll of brown wrapping paper, so I've just been using that. And there's my, for example, my Peter Pan collar. So my top collar is slightly bigger than my under collar by a few millimeters. Then I drafted my cuff, and I did quite a deep cuff on this one. Next time, you know, I could do a thinner cuff. I could have done a bound edge if I wanted, but I thought, oh, let's just go with my diagram, because I was tempted to, like, I got a little bit too excited. I was thinking, oh, I wonder if I should do this. How about if I do this? And I was thinking, no, just stick to what you've got planned. Otherwise, it'll end up being a mishmash and I won't get it done. So I was very strict with myself, and I stuck to what I'd originally designed on that sketch. And then my sleeve, I did the like pivot slash and spread method, where you get your original sleeve head and then you slash it, spread it open if you want the gather along the bottom, or you can do the same at the top if you want the gather at the top. So I wanted a gather at the bottom, so that's my sleeve. And I've got all my notches in that I needed, and there is the back of my blouse. Wrote notes on there. There is the front of my blouse pattern. Lots of scribbles. One thing, if you're thinking of doing it, obviously I used, when I was drawing around my bodice block and what have you, I used my Sharpie pens, but they are a little bit thick, even though they're fairly fine. They're a little bit thick, and I know this sounds really daft, but the thickness of the tip can affect, in millimeters we're talking here, when you're cutting it out, it can affect the sizing, which I found a little bit too thick. So I have got some super fine tipped Sharpie pens to use for drawing around my bodice blocks. The thicker ones are fine, you know, to scribble all your notes on, but when you're actually drawing around it, you need something really fine tipped that gives you the accurate drawings, because obviously a few millimeters in dressmaking does make quite a difference. Listen to me, like I sound like some expert, seriously, but you know what I mean. And then I just got a little post-it with little notes of what I did, just to remind me. For example, I used the fitted bodice block, which I lengthened by 7 centimeters. I removed 2 centimeters from the neck edge. I removed 1 centimeter down on the front edge. Button placket was for 1 centimeter width button, because obviously it all depends on what button you're using, the width of your button placket. Yeah. And the top collar I've got is 3 millimeters bigger than the under collar. So now I can file this away in one of my little pattern envelopes, call it the Peter Pan blouse pattern or whatever, and I can use this again if I want to make any more of these. And I'm absolutely thrilled. So I'll show you the button placket at the back. I'll pop some pictures of obviously wearing it in the garden. So I put 6 buttons on. And really, really happy with how my Peter Pan collars went in fine. All my notches lined up spot on. Not one notch wasn't where it wasn't supposed to be. Putting the collar in was an absolute breeze, and the sleeves went in like a dream. No problems with the sleeves. I had to pin it. You might see one of my posts on Instagram. One of the tips from Maven Patterns. I love her tutorials. She just says, when you're setting in a sleeve, pin it. Just pin, and it miraculously does get rid of that ease. If you've got a little bit of ease going on, just literally pin all the way around, and it disappears. Don't ask me how. So I did the same with these, pinned it all the way around. Went in like absolute breeze. And I've just added, you might be able to just see, added some of the yellow rickrack that I got as part of my swap share sew parcel from Rosie, my sewing partner for the swap share sew challenge this year, and I've added it onto the cuff of the sleeve there. I was going to add the buttons that she gave me too, but they're a little bit too broad for, I didn't have any of the buttons that were the same width as those 3 buttons that she gave me in the parcel. So I had to find some smaller buttons. So they'll go on to another sewing project, as with the bits of lace and the other rickrack that she got me. Oh yeah, and there's the lace. So that'll get added into something else. So I've got a little bit of the fabric left, which will come in handy for pretty pockets or other little things in my next project. So I've got a little bit left, some little extra details, something like that. And it's so pretty. And this is 100% cotton, this fabric. So it's got a little bit more structure to it. So if I make it again in something that's a little bit more flowy, say for example this gorgeous viscose, obviously it'll have a completely different drape. But I think it's worked out quite well in this gorgeous cotton. And obviously I've got it layered over a long sleeve top because that's exactly what I had intended it for, to wear throughout the autumn winter. And it goes quite nice under my pinafore too. The only thing there's a lot of buttons going on because I've got buttons on the back of my pinafore and buttons on the back of my blouse. So if I make any more that I want to wear underneath my pinafore, I might have to rethink the button opening, maybe put maybe a little tie opening at the front, something like that. But yeah. And I've also got, I'll stand up and show you, I've also got it with my wide leg pants that I made earlier this year. Absolutely love these trousers. And I've got it tucked in because I quite like it tucked in, but I made it blouse length. I'll take it out and show you. Be all creased now, but you get the gist. So I made it hip length purely for if I was going to wear it under, say for example, a pinafore of something, or long enough to tuck in my trousers. And there you can see the placket a bit better too. I'm absolutely thrilled to bits. It couldn't have gone any better, and it's given me more confidence now to have a go and make something else. And I definitely think by just putting your idea down on a piece of paper, you don't have to draw because as you can see I can't draw. Just by putting an idea down on paper, it gives you a little bit of direction of where you're going to go with it, what you're going to need. Like for example, do you want to put darts in? You're going to have an opening, how are you going to get your head in? Is it going to be fitted? Is it going to be semi-fitted? Is it going to be completely loose? What type of sleeve are you going to go for? If you draw it all in your little diagram, from there then you can like decide which way you're going to go. So watch this space. I am literally can't wait to design something else. I fancy doing something like the shorter bodice, shorter fitted bodice with maybe a little gathered skirt at the bottom, different sleeves, maybe put a zip in at the back. And also I fancy doing maybe like a little mock wrap look front, not sure yet. This is a route I am definitely so going to go down from now on, and I just can't wait to get on with the next one. So that's it for today's vlog. Let me know what you think of my little blouse. I'd love to read your comments, and if you've done any self-drafting patterns, let me know what you've made and how you found them. I'd love to know, and we share with everybody too. And if you've got any hints and tips that you think might help me, they would be greatly appreciated. As I say, I'm still learning, but if I do find anything that I can share with you, obviously I will, but I am no expert. But I'm enjoying the process. And yeah, just watch this space. So there'll be lots more of self-drafted designs coming your way. Hope you don't mind. I'm going to have a go at working on these gorgeous ditzy prints that I got from Stoff and Still. Still sitting here looking at me to be made into those blouses that I had plans. But that's it for today's vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, thumbs up. And if you just found my little corner in the world and you like to follow along with all my sewing projects and my little sewing journey, then please don't forget to hit the subscribe, and then you'll never miss out on anything that I bring out. And don't forget to follow me over on Instagram, where I always post something on a daily basis just to keep you up to date on what I'm doing. Thank you so much for joining me today. As you can see, I can't stop grinning because I'm absolutely proud as punch of myself. I really am. And can't wait to get going on the next one. Until the next time though, please take care and happy sewing, and have a go at self-drafting. You'll love it, seriously. Bye for now.